Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. If you're just joining, I'm live on YouTube and live on Facebook. So if you have comments, questions, you can post them down in the bottom. I'll see them and I'll answer all of the questions that you have so far. So thanks for tuning in for the first episode of Ask Mo. And we're going to get started here in just a second. All right, guys. So we're going to get started. So this is, like I said, the first episode of Ask Mo. This whole concept was born out of a couple of things, but essentially it came from the numerous questions I get about my hair, my kids' hair. How do I get my hair to get curly like that? How do I make my hair look like yours? What sort of products can I use? I mean, I get these questions every time I leave the house. I always get stopped by at least one person to ask me a question about my hair or about my one of my boys' hair. So before I get started on that, let me kind of tell you why I'm looking left and right. I am live through Facebook over here on the left, and I'm also live through YouTube. So bear with me as you see me kind of switch back and forth between the screens. I want to make sure that I am paying everybody attention. So back to the story about how this idea was born. So I get asked all these questions about my hair. And obviously, I don't mind talking about it. I started a whole natural hair blog to talk about my hair and just about my natural hair journey in general. But now, the more questions that come, a lot of things have changed. I've been natural now 6 years. So my hair has definitely changed a lot. I've also changed up the products that I used from the time that I started with natural hair up until this point. I think my hair changes seasonally. So I have to adjust my products to deal with basically the elements. I also now have more child than one. Prior to, I only had one. And now that I have two, time is essential. So anything I can do that's quick but effective is what I'm looking for. So, with that said, let me tell you a little bit about my natural journey first. The first time I went natural was back in 2007. So, at that time, I was pregnant with my first son, Kendall. And I said, this is my first baby. I want to have the healthiest pregnancy ever. I don't want any chemicals. I don't want anything, use anything that's going to harm my baby and harm myself during my pregnancy. So I decided to stop using any sort of perms in my hair. And I just quit cold turkey. I didn't perm my hair too frequently to begin with because my hair was pretty well tamed and managed, but I did use a flat iron a lot and I just stopped. So I went almost my entire pregnancy with no perm, got to the point where I started trimming my permed ends off and I had a nice little puff. And it was great, and I loved it, and my hair was thriving because of all the pregnancy hormones, the fact that I was not using chemicals. Everything was good. And then a month before I delivered, I guess I must have lost my mind or something and decided to perm my hair. So here I am with permed hair a week before I give birth to my son. And, it just kind of went downhill from there. And not downhill in the bad sense, but downhill in the sense of I had put forth almost exactly 9 months actually, of not getting a perm, not applying any chemicals, only all natural products in my hair. And then the week before I give birth, I put a perm in there. So I'm blaming it on the pregnancy hormones. But I went about a year and a half with a perm, and my hair was fine. I didn't have any problems. I didn't have breakage, no postpartum issues, none of that. But I did end up or decide that I wanted to go natural again just before my son turned 2. So at that point, I transitioned for about 7 months. And transitioning means to grow out your perm, to grow it out. You're transitioning from a permed hair to non-permed hair to natural hair. So for 7 months, I grew my hair out, and I wore a couple of different transitional styles. My staple was a rod set. I would take the little perm rods and put the hair in there, put them in, roll my hair up, take them out, fluff it, and I was good to go. And I did that for quite a while because it's a great style to use and wear if you have 2 different types of texture in your hair. So I did that. And then one day I said, you know what? Forget this. I'm over it. I'm done. I'm just going to cut it off. So I called my best friend, Kanetta. Hey, Kanetta. And asked her to come over one Saturday. And I handed her a pair of scissors and told her to go to work. And she did. She cut it all off. She asked me if I was sure a couple of times. And, I assured her that I was. But, I was also terrified. And I'm okay with the fact that I was scared, but I know I needed to do it. So she cut it all off. And she must have known that I was nervous about it or scared about it, because she was like, let's go to the shoe store. Who wants to go to the shoe store after you just cut all your hair off? So we went to the shoe store, and I was so nervous and so scared. I felt like people were staring at me for whatever reason. I think I was just out of my mind. And I actually went home and cried that night because my hair was gone. Now, keep in mind, I'm a person, I've worn short hairstyles. I've had it shaved down in the back. I've had it as short as Toni Braxton. I've done all of that. And then now that it's gone, why am I scared? Why am I nervous about that? So needless to say, a couple of days later, I got over it and I was fine. I was good to go. And I started looking for websites and just doing a lot of research during the early part of my journey about natural hair to see, what are the things I can use? What are the products people are recommending? Found a lot of different forums. That's when forums and chat rooms and things were really big. And it was really, really helpful. I had friends that were natural, so I reached out to them too and asked a lot of questions. And that's when I started learning about people like the Naturality, and, YouTube was really like coming into its own then too. So it was an interesting part. And then here we are 6 years later, 2 kids later, and I'm natural again. And I'm loving my hair. And a lot of that has to do with me taking the time over these last few years to figure out what works and what doesn't work. It's not an exact science. Be patient with yourself the way that you're patient with your hair too. Embrace it. Embrace every nappy, curl, every kink, every part of it, because it is your crown. It is what makes you. Now, I'm not going to try to get all preachy and tell you natural is the only way to go, because that's not right. It's all about personal preference. It's all about what works for you. What shampoo or conditioner works for me may not work for somebody else. But I would like to think that I can give you a couple of options that you can try and see what works and what doesn't work. Don't be afraid to fail with this. Everything isn't going to work, but every style isn't going to be cute. Every comb isn't going to get through. Every twist isn't going to be perfect. And that's okay, because some of the best hairstyles I've had have been the biggest mistakes. They've been the the 2-strand twist with the rods on the end that didn't quite dry all the way by the next day. But as the day went on, it got fluffier and more fabulous. And people were like, oh, I love your hair. I mean, I've had that happen time and time again. And when I tell people, yeah, I actually kind of messed it up, I just stopped telling them that. I just said, oh, well, thanks. So don't be afraid to fail out loud with your hair and have issues with it. Embrace them kinks, girl. Embrace them. Same thing for your kids, too. So I've seen a couple of questions come through. I'm going to interchange a little bit, answer some questions, show you some products, and all that good stuff. So if you want to send me questions by commenting on the video on Facebook, feel free to do that. You can send them to me through Instant Messenger, through the live stream through YouTube. That's good too. You can email them to me. If you want to send them to me through the Messenger on Facebook as well, I'll get it there too. So I'm going to answer one question that has just come through from Chelsea. Hi, Chelsea. And her question is, what would you say for you is the number one important tip to healthy natural hair? Chelsea, this is an awesome question. And it's a very good question too. So I recently gotten back into working out again a lot. And I've had a great support system with that. Hey, Kanetta, thanks for joining. And one of my friends that's a trainer, Monique, her name is Monique too. Her name is Fit Wild Brown. If you guys are looking for a personal trainer, check her out at fitwildbrown.com. She has always stressed the importance of eating healthy, making sure that you're getting enough sleep, you're drinking enough water. So I would say, to answer your question, the number one most important tip to healthy natural hair is what you put into your body. Eat right. Stay away from too much processed stuff, because think about it. Everything for us as humans starts within. What we consume, what we eat, our hair grows out of our body. That's not, a mistake. That's on purpose. So make sure you're putting the right stuff into your body so that what comes out of it is healthy and thriving. Eat a balanced meal, healthy greens and vegetables, eat your proteins, your milks and your yogurts, your chicken, your fish. Red meat is okay. And, in moderation. I know it sounds a bit like a diet, but it is. It's important to have those nutrients in. So yes, the number one important tip to healthy natural hair is a healthy you. And that'll help you in the long run. I'm going to stop for a second because I want to talk a little bit about some of the products that I use, particularly with shampoo, because you can't have this healthy bomb hair growing out of your head if your scalp is dirty. Let's be real. If you can't get through, then what do you expect? So these days, with it being summer, I'm going for a shampoo that's really strong on the cleansing side. And you'll realize that and notice that with shampoos that tend to have tea tree oil in it. Tea tree oil will get in there. It has that tingling sensation. I think you're used to it, with the regular oil itself if you have like itchy scalp issues. But I've been using, sorry to go off screen, Giovanni Direct Tea Tree Shampoo. Now this you can find at Ingles, sometimes Walmart, sometimes CVS. One thing about this, it is a clarifying shampoo, so it will strip your hair. Remember, shampoo is for your scalp, conditioner is for your hair. Just a little key thing. So if you want a good deep scalp cleansing, this is the shampoo you'd want to use. It's not too bad price point wise. It just depends on which store you get it at. Sometimes you can get it at Walmart really cheap on sale for like $3. Sometimes it may be $6. Just depends on the store. But I do like this particular shampoo for my hair when I need a really good deep cleaning. I mean, in the summer, my scalp is sweating. I got product buildup on it. I really want to make sure that it's really, really clean. So I will use the tea tree shampoo. Or if I just feel like my hair needs a deep cleansing, I'll use that too. The other one I use is Pantene Pro-V. So Pantene came out with a naturals shampoo line a few years ago. And the first version of it was awful. It completely dried my hair out. It was a mess. And, I think I cursed them to the heavens forever and said I will never use their products again, ever. Then they came out with a newly revamped line, and this has been the one that I've been using. So this shampoo, although clarifying, does not strip your hair as bad. I have really, really dry hair. So no matter when I shampoo or how I shampoo, I always add a little bit of oil on top of my shampoo. And I don't expect it to make it super hydrated because it's just oil and I have thick, dense hair. So it basically lays on top of my hair. But it also helps add that moisture in while it's cleaning. So, you put a little bit in your hand and you put it down on your scalp and really work it with the pads of your fingers. Try not to scratch, but sometimes you need to scratch and just get in there. We all love our scalp scratch. And I'll use this shampoo or the tea tree and get in there and work it and clean my scalp so I can have all this healthy bomb hair growing out of there. So this is one of my favorite ones. Price point wise, this is another one that isn't going to be any more than $3. So you can get it at Walmart, CVS, but Walmart tends to have the best price for it if you want to do that one. So hi, Siobhan. Thanks for watching. So I'm going to answer another question that Chelsea has submitted. And the question is protective styling as important as people make it seem? Do you do it? First part of the question, is it as important as people say? I mean, it's okay. It's a preference. I like to think of protective styling as a way of slapping yourself on the wrist. So I think we all suffer from hand and hair disease. I can sit here for hours and just play with my hair. And, we've all done it. We do it as a nervous twitch. We do it as just something we do. We all suffer from it. Hey, Sheena. But the less you keep your hands out of your hair, the better. Because remember, each time you touch your hair, you're stripping oils out of your hair. Hey, Angela. And so it's taking that away from the hydrating part of it. So the less and the more that you can keep your hands out of your hair, the better. All protective styling does is just help you avoid touching and manipulating your hair a lot. Remember, natural hair is fragile. It's not as fragile as you think it is, but it can be fragile. So the less manipulation you need to do to it, the better. These curls are very tight and they're very dense. But if you think about it, the more you keep touching, you're pulling curls out, you're pulling hair out. So same thing. I think protective styling is just up to you. In the summer, I don't like to do my hair a lot, so I'll just, put it up in a puff. Hence the reason it's like this today. In the winter, because the air is drier, you want to do stuff that is going to help you hold the hydration in. And protective styling sometimes does that. It just kind of gives your hair a break. I do protective styling sometimes in the winter and even now in the summer. My favorite protective style is just putting some twist in my hair and leaving them in. Part of it is protective styling and part of it is just laziness. I just don't feel like doing my hair. And it's a time thing. So if I can just put those in and not touch it and go about it, good. If not, it's okay. So I think it just varies from person to person how important you feel it is for you. So thank you, Chelsea, for that question. That's a really good question that I am asked sometimes. Not very often, but sometimes. So thank you to everybody that's joined and signed in. I see all your comments. So thank you for watching and supporting this broadcast. So now I've talked about my shampoo. Let me tell you a little bit about my conditioner. So I shampoo my hair in the summer, maybe every 2 weeks. In the winter, maybe once a month. The air is just drier in the winter. The summer, I need it much more because I'm sweating a lot more. So I will shampoo, cleanse my scalp really, really good. I'll just get down in there and work all that stuff out. And then I always follow up with a deep condition, depending on, what time of month it is that I need the deep condition, or I'm going to condition. If you condition your hair and not shampoo, that's called co-washing. That's okay to do. I tend to co-wash the weeks in between. So it's 1 week shampoo, 1 week co-wash, and just alternating all the way through. And the way you do that is you just wash your hair with conditioner, not shampoo. And my favorite products to use for that is this one by Pantene again. Get it at Walmart. So there's another conditioner that they have. Same thing. This is still the Naturals line. But this particular one just came out. I just saw it in Walmart like 3 weeks ago. And I said, well, let me give this one a try because it says it helps detangle and prevent knots. And anything that can help me detangle and prevent knots, I am all for. So this one is their newest one. This is a curl defining conditioner. I'm going to show this in both of the cameras. So you can get this at Walmart over in the hair section. And this isn't even over in the natural hair section. It's just in the regular shampoo stuff. I love this. This stuff is amazing. Not only does it smell good, but it is super, super hydrating. Super hydrating. I mean, I absolutely love it. I only need about a quarter size per section. That's just how effective this is. And if you know me in person, you know how thick my hair is. And I could probably go through a half a bottle of this, but it doesn't take a lot. I just apply it to sections and I'll smooth it from root to end. Because remember, conditioner is for your hair, not your scalp. You will block your scalp and your ducts if you're applying conditioner there. And you'll end up with buildup. So shampoo for scalp, conditioner for hair. And detangling is a breeze. My fingers just slip through. The comb slips through. I mean, it's amazing, y'all. And it was only, I think this was like $3 something too. But this big bottle, this will last me about a good 2.5 months if I play it right. It doesn't get any better than that. So definitely, consider this one as an option. If you are looking for another conditioner that you want to try that's from the Naturals line. So shout out to Pantene for this because this is good. So when I first started my natural hair journey, I was like, what's the best shampoo to use? What's the best conditioner to use? And there were 3 that people talked about the most. But the one that always stood out was none other than Herbal Essence Hello Hydration. So if you all will recall, I remember when I was in middle school, and I told this story Friday night when I did a presentation about natural hair. When I was in middle school, do y'all remember when the Herbal Essence commercial came out and the lady was in the shower and she was moaning and all loud and was talking about how great this stuff smelled? They got me. So I went out, got that shampoo, and it didn't do squat, like nothing. I really think that particular kind when they came out with it, that was not meant for Black people's hair. Let's be real. So they went back, they revamped it. A couple of years, many years went by. Started my natural hair journey. Everybody kept saying, hello hydration, hello hydration. I'm like, okay, could this stuff really, really work? And I'm happy to say that this is probably one of the best cheap conditioners you will find. Forget that VO5 that's like 98 cents that everybody is always like, get that one because it's a cheapy shampoo. Whatever. That stuff leaves a film on your hair and it leaves it coated and it's weighed down. It is not worth the 99 cents. Spend you $2.50 and get this Hello Hydration at Walmart. You want it with the coconut. And I'm going to talk a little bit about protein later on. This is the bomb. Not only does it smell good, but for those of us, when we detangle our hair, your fingers and that comb will slip through. Always remember, you detangle your hair when it's wet. You don't want to detangle it when it's dry because you're just going to rip it out. This is by far the best, next to my Pantene, of course. But this is the other best conditioner to use. You can find it at Walmart, CV. I mean, you can find this stuff everywhere. They even have the one that's 2-in-1 with conditioner and shampoo, but I don't recommend that. I recommend just a straight conditioner. Use it if you need to co-wash, use it when you do after a deep shampoo and cleaning. This is the stuff and this is the way to go. So this is another favorite of mine that you can pretty much find anywhere. So shout out to Herbal Essence. And if you all feel like ever sending me some free samples, I'm your girl. So, and this will be the final one. Then I'm going to answer another question. Deep conditioning. Deep conditioning is so important. Not only does it add hydration back to your hair, it adds nutrients. It gives your hair that little bit of oomph that it needs, because sometimes our hair gets so dry and we forget about that. And like our skin, it gets parched. So we need to add a little more hydration to it other than conditioner. I like to use this one that has yucca and plantain. This is by Shea Moisture, who is another great line that I absolutely love. This is the anti-breakage mask. The letters look a little backwards here, but I started using this after my second son. So after the birth of him, right around 6 months postpartum, I started losing my hair around my hairline, my edges. And at first, it was very subtle. I didn't really notice it. I thought maybe it was me, but no. About a month later, like all of my edges were gone, y'all. Like this was all bald. And I'd never experienced that before in life. So I would wear my hair like covered in the front and trying to avoid it. It was just a mess. So I started looking for things to help bring my hair back. I looked at hair vitamins, couldn't take them because they tore my stomach up. I looked at drops. I looked at, different Indian oil blends to use. I think I tried just about everything there was. And then finally I said, you know what? There's two things that's going to get my hair back. This anti-breakage mask, because it's just for that. And then Jamaican black castor oil. So Jamaican black castor oil is my other favorite product. Here's the thing though. Castor oil does come from a nut. So if you have a nut allergy, you may not want to use this product. I would recommend taking it to your dermatologist or doctor first, just to be sure. So this is actually the hair food version. There's the oil version of it, and then there's the solid one that looks, and here I'll show you. Looks a little bit like beeswax. And when you get it out, it's very stiff and very hard, like shea butter. And once it hits your hand, it starts to liquefy. So bought this jar, and I just started rubbing it around my hairline twice a day, every day. And not even a month later, my edges were completely back. And, my hair is still growing out around the edges. It's much longer, but now it all lays down flat and has some length to it. But y'all, all of this was gone. I mean, I didn't want to leave the house. It was so embarrassing. But between the castor oil, I would do my hair mask. And I've had this jar of hair mask stuff for at least the past 5 months. Because it doesn't take a lot, just a little bit. Look at that. The jar is still mostly full. It's crazy. But that also tells you how good of a product that is too. So I just apply a little bit of this, put a shower cap on. If you have the patience, which I don't, sit under the hair dryer, maybe for about 20 minutes. If not, just wrap a towel around that plastic cap if you use a Kroger bag, and take it out about 20 minutes later, rinse your hair, condition, detangle, and go about your way. So that's some of the stuff I use when it comes to conditioners. So I'm going to switch back over because Angela has sent in a question. So let me answer Angela's question. Well, first, Sheena asked, is the Jamaican oil available in most stores? Yes. So the Jamaican black castor oil is now available at Walmart in the hair food version. The actual oil version you can find at a hair store. But here's the thing. Some of the ones that they have at the hair stores have other products in it. Tropic Isle, which is actually based here in Georgia. I think they're up in like Smyrna or something. Ackworth. Shout out to Ackworth. That's where Lisa lives. They are the only ones I found that is like straight pure Jamaican black castor oil. There are no other ingredients in it. This is a hair food. So it has like shea butter, avocado oil, grapeseed oil, and then stuff to, preserve it. But this is the best one. And this one is at Walmart, Sheena. So I don't even remember how much this jar cost, but I've had it forever. I mean, it's been well over a year. But it's worth it. So I just kind of keep it on hand. I still use it, but not as frequently. So let me back up. So Angela submitted a question that says, what should I use on my hair after I take out my cornrows? And am I planning to go right back to box braids in 2 weeks? Oh, and I'm planning to go back in box braids. Well, Angela, you are going to need to get that tea tree oil shampoo. And you are going to need to scrub your hair. Because with the cornrows, they loaded your hair down with gel. So regular shampoo may not get all of it out. I even sometimes could recommend you even doing a bentonite clay treatment. Bentonite clay is it's an ash clay, and you can order a jar of it. And I'll put all this out there later on by the Indian Clay Company. And you just put it on your hair, and what it does is it pulls the impurities off your hair. It's basically another way of clarifying your hair. When you wash it, I just add a little shampoo to it to, lift all of it up and deep clean it. And then followed up with a deep conditioning treatment. Remember, when you get braids or when you take your braids out, you always deep condition, no matter what. You can do a deep condition, and you can even do a hot oil treatment if you want. But you definitely want to make sure that you deep condition that hair, because your hair has been, it's been pulled, and there's been all that tension to it. So you want to make sure you're adding moisture back into it so that it doesn't become brittle. So deep condition it, and then, give your hair a break, maybe about 2 days in between getting the braids. And then, if you want to braid it back up again. The biggest thing when you have braids in too, treat it just like you would your regular hair. Cover it up with a satin cap. I love bonnets. I swear by bonnets. Majority of the time I have a bonnet on my head just because I love them that much. But it helps protect your hair underneath it too from drying out. And just try to avoid any kind of alcohol products like spritz and more gel. And you don't want to add more to it than what's already on there. But yeah, so that's what you can use after you take those out. I hope that helps. I'm sure you'll be calling me tomorrow about it. But we can talk about it. So let me go to another question that was submitted by Chelsea. And Chelsea's other question, and Nadonia, I'm going to get to your question too. She says, do you think it's better to follow a certain routine / schedule for your hair, or just give your hair what it needs when it needs? This one, so I think there are two things. I think routine is important because our hair is like our body. And if we train it, it will do what we want it to do. So, and training in the sense of following a regimen, you have to have some regimen of some type. So if you wash your hair on Thursdays, wash your hair on Thursdays. Your hair will start to get used to that, and it'll start to respond to the stuff that you're using on it. And if it doesn't, it's okay. Find something that will. So I do think it's important, but then I also think that you have to allow yourself to be flexible and intuitive with your hair. Sometimes I just know that my hair needs more protein. I know that my hair is lacking it. If it doesn't quite curl the way I want, if I can't hold styles the certain way that I want, if something isn't reacting, I can say, well, you know what haven't I done in a while? Or what have I changed? And at that point, that's when I'll go back and say, oh, let me do this, or let me do that. So I think it just varies. I think to answer your question, have you like a little standard routine and regimen, and then listen to your hair. It talks to you in the way that it reacts to products, the way it reacts to styles. So allow it to do that, and you figure out how to make adjustments to accommodate it. I can't really tell you what routine will be good for you until we can have a discussion about that. And I am more than happy to have that discussion, about that, and just kind of see how what works and what doesn't. But thanks for that. That's a really good question. Really, really good question. So here is a question from Nadonia. So first, I have to thank Nadonia because she sent in she was the very first person to submit a question. So thanks, Nadonia. So Nadonia's question is, in your experience, does hair really grow faster if you keep it braided? Okay, so here's the thing about that. I'm going to go back to earlier what I said about hand and hair disease. The less we manipulate our hair, the better and more it will grow. That is just simply a fact. If you don't bother it or do a whole lot to it, it's going to thrive and grow because it's going to say, oh, she left me alone. However, you do have to balance it with some manipulation and some regimen to it, because that is going to help it thrive. I do think braiding your hair up sometimes is good, just to keep your hands away from it and give it a break, and you, because it can be kind of taxing to maintain a natural hair regimen and just natural hair. It really can be. I'm going to be honest. I'm not going to tell you it's all glitz and glamour, because it's not. It really, truly can be a headache sometimes until you find what works for you. I remember I felt like it used to take me like a half a day to deal with my hair. Now I can wash, shampoo, condition, twist, and be done in maybe an hour and 15 minutes. And that's with 2 kids running around too. But I think you have to test it out and see what works. And I think with braids, they are definitely good to have during those winter months because no one wants to deal with their hair. We wear a lot of hats. So it's pulling the moisture, pulling the oils out of our hair. So anything you can do to add it back in, I'm all for, and low manipulation. So, I think it just depends on you on if it'll help your hair grow more, but it's definitely worth a shot. So I think everybody should do that. Okay. So I have talked to you guys about shampoo, talked to you about conditioner, deep conditioner, talked about how to get your edges back. If they're missing, you want those to come on back. Now let's talk about styling your hair. So I like to follow what they call the lock method. I started doing this when I first went natural, and then I decided to do it again because, again, I could tell that my hair was missing something. Something was going on with it as of late. And, I was like, it just seems drier than normal, and not the kind of dry when I haven't been covering it up for a few days. It was the kind of dry where it's like, nah, something's not right. So I thought maybe I was having, some more postpartum issues, which at this point, my son's like over a year and a half old now. I don't know why I would, but human body is a mysterious thing. So I said, you know what? Let me kind of go back to basics. Let me go back to what I used to do. So I did the lock method, and I talked a little bit about this on my natural hair regimen video that I just posted the other week on my YouTube channel. And it is basically the liquid oil cream method. So I'll do another one of these broadcasts and probably a video for YouTube where you talk about the different hair types. I really don't think that information is important, but some people really like to know what their hair type is. So I'll definitely talk about that. And let me pull it. So your lock method, and it looks like I left my favorite leave-in conditioner. Tragedy. That is your liquid oil cream. So basically what you're going to do is you wash, you condition, detangle, or maybe you detangle while you do your leave-in. So for my leave-in, I typically use Kinky Curly Knot Today. If you've seen it, you can find them at Target. They might be at Walmart these days, but definitely at Target. It looks like a gel, but it's not. It's actually all botanical. It's all herbal, but it coagulated into a gel. So I tend to use that one because it's very light. It's water based. I don't feel like it weighs my hair down. When I do my puffs, I try to limit the amount of gel that I use. So I actually used my Kinky Curly Knot today, and I used it today too on my hair. It does not dry it out at all. So I absolutely love it. Price point, it's about $10. But that one bottle will last me a while. It's another one of those, I don't need a lot of it for it to be effective. So summertime, springtime, I tend to use that. And in between, I use it too. In the winter, I switch to something heavier. So I like to use Carol's Daughter hair milk. See that? Okay, so here's the backstory. When Carol's Daughter first launched, I was all over it. It was right when I started going natural the first time. Product came out. I was like, oh, I'm getting everything. And I did. And y'all, it was the worst mistake ever. Her hairline was horrible when it came out. I'm sorry, Carol's Daughter. I'm just being honest. It was horrible. It was completely drying to my hair. It made my hair very brittle. And I threw it all away. It was a big waste of money because I was still in college. But, you know, it was just that bad. It made my hair look so bad. So, again, I swore I would never use these products again. Tried them again a few years later. Still didn't work. In the last couple of years, she's revamped again. The labeling has changed. She's added some new stuff, brought some stuff back. And hair milk, surprisingly, has gotten better. So it puts me in the mindset of a pink oil moisturizer. And I know y'all remember that pink oil moisturizer because everybody's mama used to use it on their hair. It seems kind of greasy, but it's not. So I do and use it the same way I do any other one. And if you can see it coming out, it's like lotion. And I just take this little bit and rub it through my hair in the sections that I've separated. And you can see it a little bit, still kind of creamy. And then I just rub it through and then I detangle it. I always detangle when my hair is wet, never when it's dry. And just apply it to it. I like the smell. It smells very clean and refreshing, but without being overpowering. It does get a little greasy. So if you can see my hands, they look kind of greasy and shiny. Yeah, it kind of lingers for a little bit, but not bad. Not bad. If it was bad, I would tell you. So I'm just rub this on my hair to use it. But now, Carol's Daughter, I used to have to go to Macy's to get it. Now I can get it at Walmart. Not too bad price point. I don't think it's more than $10 there. It may be a little bit more, a little less. But they also have the little, I think it's maybe like a 2-ounce bottle that they can sell if you want to try it out for like $2.34 too. And they actually have a couple of her products at that price and that size. You could almost say travel size if you want to test it out. So hair milk is what I tend to use in the winter. So this is the L in my lock method. Okay. Always a leave-in conditioner. Leave-in conditioner is very important for us. All right, so I've applied my cream to my hair because I have super thick hair, super dry hair. Now it's time for the oil. So there are 2 oils that you can use. You want something cheap but effective? Africa's Best Herbal Oil. You can find this at Walmart. What I like about this one, you can use it on your hair and your skin. In the winter, I add it to my lotion. And I use this on my hair in the same method that I use the leave-in. I just apply it to my hands and smooth it through each section. Doesn't take a lot. I only do about a dime to about a quarter size, depending on which section. In the front, I don't do as much, but in the back, I do a little bit more because I know my hair tends to be drier in the back of my head than in the front of my head. So again, one of those things you just kind of figure out that works for you. So Africa's Best, you can get this at Walmart. This is probably Target too. Probably no more than like $2 or $3. So that this is a really, really good oil. I also like the smell of it. It smells kind of nutty, but not too bad. The other oil is Shea Moisture is another line that I absolutely love. They have great products, and I will make sure that I do one of my next broadcasts where I kind of talk about some of the Shea Moisture products and whatnot. So oil wise, they've come out with 4 different oils. They have a flaxseed, they have a shea oil, some other one, and then they have this one called Monoi oil, and I hope I'm saying that right. So this one just came out the other week. These little bottles, these are 1.6 ounce bottles. They're like $8. And I had to do some serious soul searching before I bought this because I was like, this is $8 for this little bitty bottle of oil. But this oil is powerful. So I have not tried the others, but Monoi oil, what I like about this one is I use it on my hair. It comes in the amber bottles because you guys know with these amber bottles, they help products stay preserved so that you're not getting all that sunlight into it to damage it. So in the bottle, and if you can see it where it looks kind of white, it's solid. But when you squeeze it out and as soon as it hits your skin, it liquefies. See that there? So don't be thrown if you buy a bottle of this and you're like, oh, it's just solid. No, the minute you get it out, it becomes oil. And it smooths and blends in really, really well. Really well there. Love the smell of it. It doesn't take a lot for that section of my hair. And I actually started using this on my skin. And surprisingly enough, it's been really effective for my dry skin. I tend to have, and you probably can't tell because I have a little bit of makeup, dark spots on my cheeks, some really dry spots on my forehead. And it's just because I just have naturally dry skin. And of course, I was like anybody who went through skin issues with pimples and whatnot and picked at them, and I shouldn't have. But this has really helped add moisture back to my skin, started to help me clear up some of those dark spots. And I really like it. So yeah, this one, like I said, was about $8. So I bought it about a month ago. I try to ration it out because I don't know if I'm spending another $8, but it does work. The true test of this for me will be when the winter comes around because I want to see how well it stands up to the cold, dry air that we have or the air when we have the heat on. I really want to see how well it works then on my face. My hair, I'm not too concerned about. So this one is available at Walmart. You should also be able to get it at Target. I have not seen it in any of like the CVS's or Walgreens yet, but just something to add to the list of things. And I will also make sure I list all these products out on my website, which is naturalandfab.com. And I'll also put them on Facebook as some of the discussions and send you all links to them. Nobody is paying me for the reviews of these products. These are just simply my opinions of stuff and just things that I've tried true over the years. So I know we're about 10 minutes from closing. I'm just going to show you a few more products that I have. Eco Styler Gel. You can get this at the dollar store, Walmart. I like the green one because it has olive oil and it is not drying to my hair. For some people, it is. So they prefer the red one, which is the super hold. I've had this jar maybe about a good 2 years. Don't use gel very much, but Eco Styler Gel is effective. Here's my trusty hair bonnet. Make sure it's a satin hair bonnet. If you don't do a hair bonnet, do a satin pillowcase. That works just as fine too. Always, always, always hair clips. These are small ones, but make sure you get you some large hair clips too. Always want to have those around. Hair scrunchies. Yes, the hair scrunchies are still useful and effective. And I always make sure I have plenty of these because these are great for putting your hair up in a puff when you just want to do something to it. And then they even help you sometimes with other hairstyles. I also keep a pack of Goody headbands around. These are great for just holding the hair back. Sometimes you may want to layer them, on your hair. You can do things with them. Wide tooth comb for detangling. Always a wide tooth comb, people. Never the fine rat tail combs. And finally, perm rods. When I do twist, I discovered a little trick. If you put perm rods on the ends of your hair, it will curl it, which means you'll have better definition for the style. So now when I twist my hair, if I want to give my hair a little bit more oomph to it, I will put perm rods in, and I'll use the purple ones, the slightly smaller ones, in the front of my hair. And I'll use these orange ones, which are a little bit bigger than the purple, as you can see. I'll use these mostly with the back of my hair because those twists tend to be thicker and bigger. So I don't necessarily need the small ones for it. Plus, I like for the back to hang a little longer than the front does. And these are great. I've had these forever. And last but not least, a pack of shower caps. If you don't buy the caps, use a plastic grocery bag. Works just as fine and just as effective. So those are some of my products that I like to use, and that you all should make sure you kind of have there in your stash of stuff. So Kanetta has asked the question of what is a good product for heat protection. So I did not bring that product in here. Good question, Kanetta. But any sort of heat protectant you can buy. Cream of Nature makes a really, really good one that I like. It has argan oil in it. It's not heavy. It's very, very light. So I'll make sure I take a picture of it and post it on Facebook too. And anytime you are straightening your hair, anytime you're curling it, anytime you're going to use heat on it, you want to use heat protectant. One of the reasons I have not gone to a natural hair salon, as hard as it may seem to be, is that I am terrified of heat damage. I only let two people in this world straighten my natural hair, and that is my mother and that is my best friend, Kanetta. Nobody else gets to straighten it because I don't trust people with that heat. I am truly, truly terrified of ending up with heat damage. I have just heard too many stories. So I only let the two of them straighten my hair. And honestly, to straighten my hair is a full day process. I actually have to start 2 days in advance because I have to wash it. I have to let it air dry. I have to blow dry it. It has to be detangled. Then I have to go and beg either my mother or Kanetta to flat iron this hair. And that can take about a good 2 or 3 hours to do because of how thick it is. So, Sheena, you can try to book an appointment with her, but I start begging her about 3 or 4 months in advance. So, good luck. Good luck with that. But, yeah, Cream of Nature, all of those are good products to use that have good heat protectants. I really think anyone or any of these brands that are out here that's a heat protectant, they're all just as effective. Nothing on there that's too bad. Nikki just submitted a question through Facebook, and it says, what is your opinion on the product Ite that is on Facebook? You know what? I got that product line maybe about 2 years ago at the Natural Hair Show. I met them and got the samples of the products. And surprisingly, they're not bad. I don't really like the price of them. Sometimes it comes down to price with me with products. If I feel like, well, I'm not going to say, but there's a very well-known brand that I feel is completely overpriced. And their stuff is awful because it left my hair covered in white stuff. And to this day, I still don't know why. But they're completely overpriced, in my opinion, to be effective. But I do think that particular one, Nikki, that's a good one. I do think it's okay. Sheena, you wrong for that. So I found out about them at the Natural Hair Show. Got their products, tested it out. It seemed okay. I don't know. I kind of like to stick to things that are a little bit more cost friendly. But I do like that it doesn't have, silicone in it, which is so important. So silicone is basically a film. You don't want that because your hair can't breathe. You want your hair to be able to breathe. But I think you can get, the same sort of results and the same effectiveness by, using some of the same products that you can get at the store with anybody else for a fourth of the cost. So I do think that they're okay. All right. So I'm going to answer Chelsea's question. We got about 5 more minutes to go. So Chelsea's question or statement says, this may be a little off topic, but what would you say that natural hair is becoming the norm? Personally, I find it very rare that I see a girl with relaxed hair anymore. What do you think? And you're welcome, Nikki. I think natural hair has always been the norm. I don't think it hasn't not been. I think that we're seeing people transition and move to natural hair, one, for cost reasons, because going to the salon is costly, and we're coming off the end of that recession piece. So people were starting to save money instead of going there. But I also think there are a lot more studies being done on some of the chemicals that we use these days. And some of the results of those findings aren't necessarily positive. And I think a lot of it has to do with companies cutting corners in some areas. I think some of it has to do with environmental factors. Our hair these days may not be as resilient as it was back in the day, and a lot of that has to do with diet, genetics, etc. So I think in a sense it's becoming the norm because people are embracing it. Do I think it's a trend? I think anything having to do with our hair is a trend. But I admire people who like to take risks with their hair, who like to play with their hair. I love women like Erykah Badu. Erykah Badu will shave her hair one day and then go put on a 20-foot wig the next. Her hair is an accessory. And I think it's to each his own. I love my hair. I won't say that I'll never cut it. I won't say that I'll never, ever perm it again. I don't know. I may wake up one day and be like, you know what? I want a bob today. And for most times and most points like that, I'll just go out and buy a wig. But, who's to say? Who's to say? So do I think it's becoming the norm? Maybe. But, there's still the hair business is a multi-million-dollar business at the end of the day. You can buy it anywhere and everywhere. So I think once people start to embrace, a little bit more of their hair, we're definitely going to see some shifting in the industry in various capacities. But, normal or not, it is what it is. So does anybody have any other questions? Go ahead, feel free to send them in. You can send me messages on Facebook. You can email me. You can check out my website, naturalandfab.com. I took a little hiatus after I had baby number 2. And just because I didn't have the time, I'm enjoying motherhood, and I'm still enjoying motherhood. But, send me the messages, send me the questions. I love hearing from you guys about stuff. So if I can help, send me a text. I got a text the other night from Raquel at like 1 a.m. And I love just helping people about natural hair. I'm not here to tell you that natural is the only way to go. I'm not a militant natural about it at all. But I do think you should just embrace who you are for what you are. So love every kinky nappy curl that you have. Teach our daughters to love every nappy kinky curl that they have. That is your crown. So wear it proudly, embrace it, for what it is. So we'll see how things go from there. So thank you guys so much for watching, tuning into my very first series of Ask Mo. I really, really, really appreciate it. You have no idea. So thank you all for joining and watching. I'm going to do this again, and I'm going to focus, maybe on one product that time, or maybe I'll do a little bit of my hair regimen. I'll even show you guys how I go about doing my hair regimen, which should definitely be interesting. But thank you for watching. Stay tuned for more updates, and I will see you soon.